Welcome to Certain Point of Views Trade School, where each episode a different host talks about a comic book trade paperback that they loved and why they love it.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse Fresco, formerly of the Jaguar Sharks podcast. Case asked me to come on to talk about a trade paperback or any kind of story that I felt was interesting for his new series, Trade School. And I figured I'd go ahead and bring out one that a lot of people probably haven't heard of or haven't recognized very much, even though it's kind of still an ongoing series. It's still been going on. I'm going to talk about The Metabarons by Alejandro Jodorowsky with artwork by Juan Jimenez. So this is a series that is actually a spin-off prequel to a series that Jodorowsky did years and years ago called the Incal, which is a sort of metaphysical journey through the nature of the universe and its existence. It's hard to describe. Essentially, there's a trilogy of series that's spun out of the failure of Jodorowsky's attempt to make Dune, and that trilogy was the Incal, the Metabarons, and Techno Priest. The Incal being the main series, that's the main storyline, but Techno Priest is one that also kind of delves into the religious aspects, and then there's another one, this is what I'm going to talk about today, the Metabarons, which deals with one of the characters that's in the main story of the Incal, the Metabaron. And this series is essentially a prequel dating back thousands of years. When I say prequel, I mean it is a prequel, very much in the depths of time prequel. And it follows the family line of this cast of warriors from their first in the line of Metabarons all the way up until the last Metabaron. And it's a very wild existence, and it's being relayed in the story by these two robots named Lothar and Tonto. And it's not a traditional narrative format. It's not a traditional structure. The writing is very lofty and grandiose. It's almost Shakespearean in a way. It is adapted from its original translation. So there's some translation issues here and there, but artwork-wise, it's probably one of the best-looking comics I've ever read in my life. It's also got some of the most inventive usage of panel structure and time compression and decompression. It's one of those books that you just have to read it. I would almost say this is required reading. When people say things like Alan Moore's Watchmen or Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns as required comics reading, I would put the Incal, Metabarons, and Techno Priest up there as well. It's so different and so unique that you just kind of have to read it. It's definitely not for everybody. It's very dense, very packed to the gills with metaphysical topics, existentialism, religious symbolism. I mean, the end of the Incal storyline, the main character literally meets God. It's a very dense, Baroque series in a lot of ways. And you're following this cast of warriors all the way from their beginning up until their last one. And it's almost Shakespearean, and it's a tragedy. It's this tragic downfall of this family. But you're seeing how their conflict is in many ways reflective of what George Lucas would later on copy in Star Wars to the point where there's a martial arts style in there called Bushitaka. It's just the Jedi fighting method. It's just the Jedi fighting method. It is very much, I'm fairly certain that Lucas read this. I'm fairly certain he read this and said, oh yeah, I'm going to copy that for future installments. There's a lot of Star Wars in here. Ship design, characters. There's one character that's named Steelhead, which appears later on in the story. I'm like, yeah, that's just one of the droids. That's just one of the droids. It looks a little bit like Boba Fett sometimes if you look at it in the right angle. But yeah, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous series. And it has since been collected. The original 4 storylines that make up the one narrative that leads into the very beginning of the Incal. That's the one I'm discussing today. It has been collected. It is expensive. These are French comics, so they are going to be on the pricier side. Though the series technically is still continuing. There's a bunch of spinoffs. There's more prequels to those as well. Although most of those are not done by Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky at this point is effectively in retirement. Probably doesn't have long left on the planet. He's very old, but his work is still being continued to this day. They're still adding on to this what's called the Jodo-verse, and there was talk of doing an adaptation of the Incal years ago. Taika Waititi was going to take the reins on that, and that just kind of disintegrated because I think Taika Waititi just loves to say yes to everything and then just pick whatever he wants to do and then just leave whatever he doesn't want to do. I don't think you can really adapt these stories. These are these are impossible to film. When people say that Alan Moore's Watchmen was impossible to adapt, yeah, they did it, but it wasn't that satisfying. Whereas with something like this is unadaptable. They can only do this in a comic book. There is one specific moment that stands out for me, and it's a moment when, in order for a father or for a son to ascend to taking the reign of the Metabaron, the son has to kill the father. And so there's a point where the son and the father have to fight, and the entire galaxy has gathered to watch the battle. They're going to fight in these 2 ships. And they link the ship commands directly into their consciousness and their brains. And the ships, when they begin to fight, they move so fast that it takes place within the span of a single second. And the entire galaxy watches, and they're like, are they going to fight? And by the time they begin to fight to the rest of the galaxy, it's already over. We see it through the next several pages. They moved so fast that they cracked through the barriers of time, reality, dimensions, and then creatures from parallel realities start cropping into our dimension. You cannot adapt this into film. You cannot make this into anything that's television. It doesn't even work in prose. This is a comic book only. It really takes advantage of the medium. With the artwork by Juan Jimenez, it really, really pops on the page. This beautiful ship design that looks like they look like crustaceans. They look like whales and fish. I have a feeling that the Wachowskis read this and got the inspiration for the Machine City and the Matrix from the design of the ships that are in the Metabarons. I have a feeling that they basically just lifted it wholesale and plopped it in there. You've just never seen anything like this. It really is incredible, the depth that there is in this narrative. There's so many characters. There's so much lore to explore. There's elements of the Bushido that's in here. There's elements of the samurai. It's a space opera. There's Greek tragedy. It's so packed to the gills with themes and metaphor, and it's not even the main narrative of the series. It's just the prequel. And it just leads up to this one guy that's just named Nameless. He has no name in the main storyline of the Incal. He has no name. And it's just, I would not recommend this if you're just trying to jump in and be like, oh, I just want to read something today. You kind of have to be in a mood to read this. You have to really be invested with this because it like I said, it is very complicated and very dense, but it's well worth it if you are looking for something different, looking for something that's a little off the beaten path, and something that is not superheroes or something that is not traditionally accessible. This is the place to go to. Jodorowsky's work has always been known for being highly graphic and very sexualized, but also incredibly spiritual. And when I say spiritual, I don't mean religious. It's spiritual. I mean, the main character meets God at the end of the Incal, but what God that is, never made clear. It is some all-powerful entity that is in charge of the universe. if you can get the collected edition, go for it. If you can only find the trade paperbacks that collect the stories individually, there's 4 of those original trades. It's also a nice, I'd rather say unfortunate coincidence that on one of the trades, the cover art for one of the Metabarons in the family, they used the likeness of actor Terrence stamp for that character's face. And I'm recording this on August 17th, 2025. It was announced today that the great actor Terrence Stamp has passed away. So General Zod has since left this mortal coil. So it's I guess unfortunately appropriate I'm discussing this on this date. But with regards to the story, with regards to the comic, it is well worth your time. It is very, very unique. There's nothing else like this. I mean, I can't think of anything that's made in America that even compares to this. So that is my pick for this series. If you can find it at a comic shop, go pick it up there. If you can't, order it online. It'll probably be very expensive shipping it from overseas, but it is well worth your time. It's The Metabarons by Alejandro Jodorowsky and artwork by Juan Jimenez. Happy reading.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CPOV.
CertainPOV.com.